How's it going, guys? And welcome back to another video. We're still at the CPAC media booth here with a lovely lady and we're about to let you guys know all about her. So if you don't mind, just tell us your name and then what got you active in politics.
Sure. My name is Connie Davies, and I'm an American government teacher, which got me active in politics, right? You know, one of my challenges as an American government teacher is to teach our children the Constitution and the rule of law and the importance of the rule of law. And back during the Obama years, I noticed that the law was not being followed, and it wasn't by citizens that was being violated, it was by the government itself. And as we've seen things happen in the last couple of years, we see more and more that conservative voices are being targeted, which is a violation of our Constitution and our constitutional rights. So my challenge as a teacher has been to explain to my students why this is happening. Well, it shouldn't be happening. So I don't have answers for them sometimes because all I know is that the rule of law is being trampled on. The Constitution doesn't seem to be relevant in this country, at least under this administration. And I'm very concerned about justice and the two-tier justice system that we see right now.
So I'm very interested. You said you're a teacher, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so did you receive any blowback from the school or from students or parents kind of spreading what you taught?
Because I teach at a Christian school.
Okay.
And so we have full liberty to speak the truth, which should be taught in schools. And so I have full liberty at my school to share from the scriptures, the foundation of what our laws are supposed to be, and the Constitution. And so we have great times in my class, and my students are brilliant.
That's beautiful. Are you Protestant, Catholic?
I'm
Protestant?
I'm non-denominational, but I'm a Christian.
Perfect. Same here. So perfect. All right. So in your opinion, in America, what are some of the biggest issues? You know, what matters to you most?
Right now, there are two things that concern me: the disregard for the Constitution and the rule of law. And as it relates to that, like I said, the two-tier justice system, and how we see that the justice system is not working in America, that if we do not have justice in America, we have no freedom. And we see that happening. We see our freedoms being eroded day by day. And the interesting thing is this is not an enemy from the outside. It's not. Yeah. The enemy is from within. And I think that we have should have a great concern about what we're seeing in government, and particularly this administration.
Yeah. No, I see it all the time, and you may not even agree with this, but I see a lot of police, too, that just abuse their power. It seems like in the United States, we have trouble giving authority and then them respecting the authority, you know? Like, they need to understand, yes, I have authority, but I'm not going to abuse it. And it seems like in the government, people don't understand that, not even the government, but police, local, and then you get a step higher. It's just they are constantly abusing the rights given to them.
Exactly. And what I teach my students is that we are a nation of laws and not of men, that there is a rule of law in this country that everyone has to abide by, from the president all the way down to the man on the street. And if there's anybody in this country that is above the law, that can exercise and abuse the power, especially those in government positions, who have, to me, should live by a higher standard than those of us that live our day-to-day lives as American citizens, then we are in trouble.
I mean, you see it all the time. Bill Clinton and then the Epstein Island, you just see them all the time taking their duty and then just going away with it and saying, I'm above the law, I can do whatever I want.
Yeah, and the problem with that, there's been no accountability.
Exactly.
And what I want to see is accountability for those that, especially those that have held public office, those that have abused their powers and have used that power to come against American citizens. And I have a case in point, if I may talk about my friend John. Okay, I became aware of a gentleman, a former state senator from Arkansas, John Woods. John was the first public official in Arkansas to endorse Donald Trump in the 2016 primaries. We don't know if that's the reason he was targeted, but we do know that 1 year later he was indicted. And there were charges that were brought against John, claiming that he got kickbacks from money that he obtained for a Christian school in Arkansas. And so he went to trial. The interesting thing about this trial, though, is that there was an FBI agent involved who was supposedly investigating this case. The FBI agent destroyed the evidence in the John Woods case. So when John went to trial, all the evidence that could have been available was not brought to court.
correct me if I'm wrong, but shouldn't that result in a mistrial?
I think that's what you would expect, but that's not what happened. What happened was that the FBI agent said that he destroyed the evidence because there was medical records on that computer he did not want to be disclosed. A prosecutor actually said that's like burning down the house because you don't like the drapes. I mean, it's a ridiculous, flimsy excuse for an FBI agent to destroy evidence in a case that was relevant to a federal prosecution against a public official. But nonetheless, John Woods, they were pressuring him to take a plea bargain. He was not going to take a plea bargain because he said, if I do that, the truth can never come out. He knew the FBI agent had destroyed the evidence. So he stood his ground, went through the trial, was sentenced to 18 years and 4 months in prison. Now, this is supposedly for getting a kickback of $40,000. Even if he were guilty of that, I think 18 years is a little extreme, but he didn't do it. And he said, I didn't do it. I wouldn't do something like that. So this FBI agent, he goes to trial. John Woods goes to prison. This FBI agent, this last August, admits that he destroyed evidence. August the 17th, he admitted to it. In his plea, he actually says, I did it because of relevant evidence in the John Woods case. So in January of this year, just a few months ago, Robert Cesario was sentenced in an Arkansas court. He received 3 years probation to go home when he could receive 20 years in prison for destroying evidence in a legal case. So this is what I'm talking about. The egregious misconduct in this case with the FBI agent, with the judges, because judges allowed this to happen as well. There was actually an amicus brief that was written in the appellate court in support of justice, saying that this was some of the most egregious government misconduct that they had seen. This was the National Association for Criminal Defense Lawyers. So,
see, what surprises me is you would think that they would care more, the government would care more about being trillions and trillions of dollars in debt than $40,000. Like, you know, it shows where their priorities are, and it's more on prosecuting citizens that rebel. It just really kind of shows the dictatorship that they're trying to, or the authority that they're trying to force over the American people.
Exactly. And if you even look at John Woods' record and what he was doing in Arkansas, he was a very good conservative lawmaker in Arkansas. He was doing a lot of good for the people of Arkansas. And to know him personally, I've actually visited him in prison twice. To know him personally, you know by someone's character when you meet them. You can feel whether they're honest or truthful. And when he shared with me his story and how he was steamrolled, he said, Connie, I tried to bring myself into a mindset to admit to something so I wouldn't go to prison. He said, I could not do it. I could not lie. I could not lie to the court, even if it meant going to prison. Now, somebody like that
takes integrity.
And it took a real strong person. We need more of that, because there are a lot of people that succumb to the pressure of the DOJ, the prosecution, and they don't stand up for truth. And here we are.
I feel like you'll really enjoy the message behind Go USA. You see opportunity. We really focus in on opportunity. And so we judge politicians and all officials, not just politicians, but all officials, based on two principles. Are you following the Constitution, and are you following the will of the majority of the American people? So I always give the example, late trimester abortions, only 10% of the population support, yet you have a lot of politicians that do support it. So they're clearly going against the will of the majority of the American people, so they would get a negative opportunity score. However, mandatory voter ID, a lot of people support, the majority supports. So if you're someone that supports that, you would get a positive opportunity score. So it's really just like a Yelp or a Rotten Tomatoes, but for politics. It's holding our politicians accountable the same way Yelp and Rotten Tomatoes holds movies accountable. So do you think that that's a system that should be implemented into the government?
Yes, I think that's a great idea, because a lot of times we go to the polls and vote every 2 years, for some of our congressmen and then the senators every 6 years, some of our state officials 4 years, and we vote, we express our views, but then we leave them to do what they decide to do. And when you hold their feet to the fire and you make sure they're accountable, in North Carolina, for example, our own senator came against some of the opinions of the constituents in North Carolina about the what was the Respect for Marriage Act or something that came on recently, and the people in North Carolina are censoring our senator because, you know, we didn't vote him in for 6 years to do this. We voted him in to hold to conservative principles, and he's betrayed us. Yeah. So now we're censoring our own senator now. We're taking action. Well, it's time for the American people to stand up and hold the feet to the fire for our elected officials, for sure. And not just the elected, any of those like the FBI and the DOJ. I'm hoping that this House Judiciary Committee does something in this investigation beyond investigation. I hope that there's some things that happen to some of these people that they prove are guilty.
Well, I'm so glad that you support the message behind Go USA, thank you. Just a last little bonus question for you. I noticed you said that you are Protestant. So in like 15 to 20 seconds, could you say real quick, what has God done for you in your life?
What has God not done for me in my life? I have everything. I have the best life. I tell my pastor I'm the most blessed lady in the world. I feel that way because I feel that as I'm doing the will of God, that God's going to bless my life. I don't have anything to be afraid of. I'm standing on truth. I'm standing on the Word of God. And, you know, God told me something right before I went to the sentencing for this FBI agent. God said that the wicked believe that they're getting away with it. It says that the wicked believe that they planned a scheme that they're going to get away with because nobody sees it. But God says, I will shoot an unexpected arrow toward the wicked. And that's what I'm waiting for, Bo. I want to see the unexpected arrow that comes not just from us, but I would like to see God intervene because it looks like we need some God intervention on some of these.
We do. Well, thank you so much for your time. God bless you. It was great talking to you.